welcome everybody who's come in. This is our first time doing this for Mr. Kunz and I. MK, I call him, so I'm going to refer to him as MK for the whole thing. But MK is my production guy, and we've been figuring this out the last couple of days. We want to bring some normalcy to everybody through all this stuff that's going on, and we thought we'd reach out and talk about how creativity is so important right now to keep us all kind of calm and give us a breather during the day. Everything's coming out and being thrown at us so fast, and there's so many unknowns, and it's just really, really important to take a deep breath and kind of relax a little bit. And for a lot of us, creativity is that way in. So we've set this up. My very good friend Vic Lee over in London has agreed to be our first guest on this podcast that we're doing. Vic was one of the OG original visiting professional artists. I don't know if Vic remember about 4 years ago where you
yeah, man.
Yep, he Skyped in with us from London. Fantastic creative mind. The guy is absolutely brilliant. If you don't follow him on Instagram, it's at Vic Lee London, and his stuff is just phenomenal. We're going to get to what he does and show you a little bit what he does, and to let him talk about what he does. But really, it's a forum for you all to kind of escape for a little bit today. And, we have you muted for now. We have your video muted for now. So only the three of us who are hosting, you can hear and see. I see Jen Cavazza coming in. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about, why it's so important to stay in this creative mindset right now. And the project that Vic has that he's going to talk about is really, really cool. I think it's going to help out a lot of people and just, keep us through this dark time right now and shine a little bit of light. So, first off, Mike and Vic, how are we holding up? What's going on?
From London's point of view, yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. We're keeping it slow. We're locked down over here. We just go out for necessities when we need to. It's I'm not going to lie, this time is just insanely crazy. We wake up and just go, is this a dream? What's going on? And then we see the news again. So we started to sort of stop watching the news, just to get our heads together. Music is the key, Music's the key for me.
Right, if you haven't seen Vic's Instagram, he's got some really great moves too. This guy, he puts on
man.
Where he's in the studio, and this guy is he's got a crazy set of moves on him. If this was 30 years ago, Vic, I'd be recruiting you for my breakdance troupe, no doubt.
Yeah, man. Listen, when you got to bust it, you got to bust it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his Instagram feed really brings a lot of light to my day personally. Like seeing this stuff, the guy's just all positivity. He's all good energy. It's just like oozing out of this dude. It's just awesome. Mike, what's going on? How are the Kunzes? What's going on?
We're hanging in there. I mean, obviously we're trying to stay in the house as much as possible. Trying to only go out to the stores, maybe like once a week just to get food. But for you and me, Tom, as teachers, it's been a crazy week and a half right now trying to figure out teaching 88 to over 100 students while not physically being there with them and figuring out how to do home instruction, which is probably the most difficult part. And then also trying to do that while trying to teach my own kids and you being at home trying to teach your own kids during that time. It's a juggling act. It's definitely a very, very interesting time right now.
It is. And I think it's even tougher for the fact that the kids in general rely on us being there so much in front of them and showing them things. And, we have visual learners and audio learners and tactile learners and just, kids who need that direct connection, which makes it so difficult for all of us, no matter what subject you teach, just how difficult it is and how we've realized how crucial it is to be present. in that classroom.
Especially as art and design teachers. I think that's even more challenging. Yeah.
Right. Just the fact that you're not physically there. And Vic, I think you can attest as an artist too, like it's a lifestyle that is both at the same time very introverted because we're working on our own, but as an artist, you also still have to have that extrovert in you because you're putting the work out to be seen too. So how's that affecting you?
Yeah, that is a really important point, Tom. I have my own studio in London, so I lock myself in the studio. I might not see anyone for 5 days. I come home and my partner is just telling me to shut up because all I do is talk and talk and talk, you know? So yeah, introvert. I'm introverted when I'm in my studio. Obviously not that introverted because of the dancing, but I also have to pull myself out of that funk, you know, because the only way that I can get work is to share what I do to people that can see it and commission me. So this period, this is a really tough period because you have to retrain your brain to compensate for the fact that I'm being forced in, but also all of my projects have been cancelled. So this is a really really important time for me, and I'm learning a lot about myself to understand who I am and what I need to do to keep being creative, even though I'm not getting paid for it.
And we had talked about that the other day when we did kind of like a practice run through just to make sure all the tech was working and up to date. But we had asked you, how are you holding up financially? And your answer was that you're doing okay right now.
Yeah. So so I think the last time we spoke was 4 years ago. I was in a different studio. So for me, being an artist is not, and this is really important for your students, I think, as well as any student or anybody going into art, is you don't just see yourself as an artist, you see yourself as a business person. So it's really important to be able to know that there are going to be quiet times when you're working, and you have to sustain that ability to work, which means you need a pocket of cash or an amount of savings to get by. Because of the work that I do and the clients I have, I've been very fortunate in being able to increase my costs over time, but I've always got a buffer zone. But I'm very shrewd with money. I don't go out and buy all the latest equipment. My iPhone is 4 years old. My Mac at the studio is 12 years old. My laptop is a second-hand one, which I just got a new hard drive in. So I'm not crazy stupid with money. And I think when you work for yourself, it's really important to understand that. And in situations like this, it means that I don't have to worry because I have a buffer.
Right. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of the background on your experiences, what you started with, what you're at to now, stuff like that.
Yeah. Sure, man. Sure. So a brief rundown because it's a very colourful path that I've had. So I started off printing, screen printing, doing prints of London. I used to do loads of markets. So I would pretty much be working 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day as a graphic designer, but also going into art as well. And then eventually I became an illustrator after about maybe about 2 or 3 years. I decided to take the plunge and become an illustrator. And then the illustrations just took off, and then somebody asked me to do a mural, and then the murals took off. And I guess this is what I'm pretty much known for now, are really intricate, typographic, really super ornate murals. And I like to capture a lot of illustration as well as typography, but I'm also a storyteller as well. So I do so much research on every client to make it completely unique to themselves.
Right. And now, when you're working with the client beforehand, you usually take from them like we're looking at on what's on the screen right now and the stuff that
Yeah.
you're showing us. Now, these are all phrases and words that the company or the client is asking you to put in, or are you kind of doing it on your own, or is there a give and take? How does that work?
So a lot of the time, this one that you've got up, or this one even, the Virginia Woolf one, which I started just before this absolutely crazy time started. This was in January. This was for the University of Kent in England, and it's the second mural that I did. So they basically said it's at the Woolf campus. We want to celebrate Virginia Woolf because that's who it's named after, and that was my brief basically.
That was it.
So that was it. So then I went off and I researched loads of things about her quotes, her history. You know, she had, there were some dark periods in her life as well, the depression and ultimately suicide as well. But these are also really important parts of her life that I didn't want to cover over because a lot of the students, and because it was a 50% male-female ratio at the university, it's really important to include every aspect of someone's life, but do it to write about it in a way that is soft but understandable, without covering up the actual facts. So I think it's really important to include things that other people can relate to, because that's the whole point. You have to be able to tell a story that somebody might be able to see as something to do with their lives and feel inspired by, you know?
Mike, were you going to add something to that?
Yeah, just a little bit about the research that you put into your pieces, especially your murals. Is the research more about the ideas of the imagery that you want to put in and the words, or is it your research pre-sketching things out in any way?
So if I'm working with a commercial client, they will. I mean, I'm at a stage now from a graphic design. I'm from a graphic design background, so I've worked with a lot of very kind of structured clients and being told what to do behind a Mac. So I've gone from that to now being in charge. So a client will come to me, big clients, you know, Virgin Media, Virgin Atlantic, or British Airways, Mercedes, Jaguar, and they'll say, we want to do this. And then I'll ask for information from them, which I'm a little bit insulting, I'll be honest. So I'll say, you know, send me your marketing, you know, give me your marketing spiel because it's quite boring. And then I'll reword it in a very old school, I guess, British Victoriana language type way. So I think, yeah, and they give me that, and I think it's an amazing opportunity to trust me. It's a great, it's really exciting for them to trust me to do a good job, but it's also very honourable for me to be able to do something for them without them knowing what they're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, and you kind of work without a parachute too, right? It's very much just here's the wall, here's your ink and pens, boom, you go at it. You don't do you kind of preconceive what you're doing, or it's all just right out of the head?
The only thing I do, Tom and Mike, is we always agree the stories, the words. That's the most important thing. So I project the words onto the screen, onto the wall, really quickly, big fat pencil, just sketch onto the wall. Maybe takes me an hour and a half to do a 10-meter wall, and then I just make the rest up. And you know what? We are so controlled in everything we do in life. To be able to go against the wall and just, you know, get loose, man. That's what it's all about.
And it really is just a free flow of idea for you. It just comes as it hits you. It just comes out.
Yeah. I mean, this piece behind me. I mean, even the color piece which I did. This is just all made up off the cuff, no plan. Just put a line down, see what happens. If it doesn't work, you turn it into another line. You add some flowers in, you add some other bits. It's, you know, for me, it's great. This is why I love doing what I do. No constrictions.
Yeah, and it really, I think in a time like this, a time period that's happening now, just flowing out is almost very therapeutic, just to get it out.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. The project that I'm trying to start. It's not a big project, but I just want school children, students, parents, young adults, the ungrown up adults like me, to maybe just take a step back and just write and draw, because it's in a time like this, you need to be able to switch off, and illustration and being creative is a perfect tool.
Right. So then, which is a great segue. Why don't you explain a little bit about what this project entails and what you're hoping people will do?
Let me show you what I've got here. So I'm going to briefly explain. So when I travel, I started doing this maybe about 9 years ago. So every time I travelled, I would forget all the places that I'd been. Friends would go, "Where was that place in Thailand? Where was that place in Sri Lanka?" And I'd go, it's by a mountain somewhere. And I could never remember. So I started, whilst I was away, illustrating these diaries. I'm going to put this down. If you're going to, show some of them, and I'll talk about those, and then I'll show you the piece that I started.
These are they're incredible, and they're so free flowing, and just like you said, it's just right straight from your head as it comes out. Yeah.
I mean, so the projects that I really want everyone to get involved with is called the Storyteller Project 2020, and this period is the most historical period in anyone's life. What's happening now, this will never happen again, and it hasn't happened for hundreds of years, and it's happening all over the world. So what I'd like people to do is to record their story in their words, without the politicians, without the media, without the journalists, without people telling you, this is what's happening. We have our own story to tell, being at home with our parents, with our loved ones, being on our own, not being able to talk to people, not being able to socialize, using, technology as a medium to talk, trying to be creative, trying to be busy. And then also listening to the news and having your own take on it, but also other people's takes, so that in 5 years, 10 years from now, your students can pick these books up that they've drawn, and they can read their story when they were, I don't know, what age, 16, your students? How old are you?
Between 14 and 18, usually.
Yeah. So, imagine being 14, 15 now, doing this story for however long, maybe a month, 2 months.
We hope, maybe.
Yeah, less than that, hopefully. And then getting to 24, and 30, and having their own children, and pulling this book out and saying, this is what happened to me. This is my story about that time, So it's super important, and it's very good to get your words down. And, doing it today, it was cathartic. It was therapeutic to be able to, do a little bit of research when it started, and the problems we had started in Italy, and then looking at that, and you realize just in 2-3 months, this whole thing has blown up and the world is closed,
Yeah, and it's a statement to how truly interconnected we really all are, on so many different levels, and it's physically and emotionally and mentally, and it's how it's jumped from country to country and continent to continent, and it really, I think it's making people realize that we truly are a global village.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of being isolationist is not really going to help anybody, and we all have to kind of do this together.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that, because there's people are doing their own thing, that's how it all started. So last night in the whole of the UK, we had a hand clap for NHS, our National Health Service.
Yeah, we saw that here. I saw that.
And I swear, we came outside, 8 o'clock in the evening. We went outside, we stood on the driveway, and the whole street, every single person in the street was out on the driveway, 2 meters apart, obviously. But you could hear the noise across the whole of London. Wow. I mean, it was like, there was like, 9 million people cheering at the same time. It was just, and you just well up. You feel emotionally attached to somebody that you've never met before because of this.
And I think that's where this kind of project is connected like that. You have the ability to share even if it's not a visual element, a written element is important. Like you said, you can use typography. You can just stream of consciousness, write things down and doodle and intertwine everything. It doesn't even have to be legible after a while.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's your story, so it doesn't matter if no one sees it, as long as you have something. I mean, for me, I don't want this to be a really powerful, sad story. It's a big story, but there's also this amazing humanity, and there's some fun bits that are coming out of this. Some of the memes and some of the videos that are floating around are crazy good.
Mike is a meme master. Absolutely, this man sends out memes like holy cow.
It's not good, Vic. It's not good. But I said to my wife the other day, I said the best part to come out of all this is a refresh of the memes. Gone with the old memes, in with the new COVID-19.
Yeah, exactly.
But, the creativity. Right. I mean, creativity all around. I feel. I mean, this is when creativity thrives. When we're under pressure like this, and this is when creativity is the most important. And and I think right now you're starting to see that, especially with social media. I mean, you look through Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok nowadays, and people are. I mean, whether, like you said, whether it's videos or it's the art, it's the anything. It's just amazing what people are doing right now, and it's I think it's super important. Because for many of us at home where we're not going out, it's our entertainment. You try not to flip on the TV because the TV, you flip on through the channels, it's all negative. And in social media right now, I'm hoping that it stays that way. For the most part, it's very positive. It's humorous. It's creative, and I think that's what's awesome right now.
Yeah. I gotta agree with that. I think that it's it's something that's become a connector for the society, and a lot of people are always saying that it's been what's been the downfall for us for so long, and blaming it for a lot of things. But I think we're seeing the power that it can be for good things, if it's in moderation, of course, like anything else. I mean, if we can continue to use it to impart things that are more helpful than hurtful, I think that it's a really good thing. And being creative is a huge part of what makes that successful too.
Absolutely. I mean, helping your neighbors, speaking to people from a distance, hearing stories, hearing their point of view. It's great. And I actually got an email today from somebody who's an agency. And they said, would you like to do a poster for the NHS? It's called, I think it's called NHS Million. And they want to raise money for the NHS staff to do a poster, which can then be printed out by people at home and coloured in by, adults and children, all completely free. And, I answered straight away. I was like, within seconds, I was like, yeah, count me in, I'm in. When do you need it? So, you feel like this is a really great time to go. This is not everything's about money. This is the whole point of art. The real artists used to be poor and they didn't care about art. It was all about, I just want to make art. That's what it's about. So this is almost taking all of that away and just going, make art again, do it for free and be proud of it and be part of something bigger.
Right.
And
do it for
that's
yourself.
where I am. Yeah.
I mean,
make a difference.
Yeah, and I think that's why it was so crucial to have you as part of this conversation, because having known you for, these past few years, even if it's just through, most of our conversations have been social media based, but I get the feeling from you, you're truly a passionate person about what you do. There is an organic and holistic belief that you have about your work. It's not all, even though it's very commercialized in format and the beauty of it, I think what's behind it is pure passion, bro. Pure passion.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, for me, people just, I'll be honest with you, I'm a good social media person. People think I am always busy. They're like, you are always busy. You have so much work. And I turn around and go, I've only done 10 jobs this year, don't you? And they're like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, I just keep posting the same stuff, but I leave it for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, I pick, yeah, you've got to do it. But I pick and choose my clients. On average, I'll get maybe 100 to 120 inquiries a year, and I'll do 10 projects. So, it's picking the right ones for the right people.
Right.
I'm feeling good about it.
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's a lot of companies I won't work with. And I'll be kind enough to sort of say, look, you're not my client. I can't work with you because of my personal choices, basically.
Right. Which is that's very admirable too. But I think that's why it's so important to have you as a guest on this and talking about this particular topic, because it's something that I know from having conversations with you, you believe so much in, and if any time is necessary to have that kind of belief system, it's absolutely right now.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now is not the time to stop doing stuff. Now's the time to do more stuff,
and
to find out
to share it as much as possible with everyone too.
Exactly. And find out who you are. A lot of people, one of the things that I realized in this period is we are being forced to stop. We're not allowed to socialize. We can talk on devices. We can talk over fences. We can't, 2 meters apart. We can't go to work. Loads of people have stopped working. I don't see this as a bad thing. I see this as, because it's my way, this is a sabbatical from life. This is being able to take time off and do your thing without someone else telling you what to do, in your own time, and find out who you are. And you might discover just so much more about yourself that you didn't realize, and your capabilities as a creative person,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that it's a time to either reflect on the things that you've done already, and really a time to, like you said, to try new things. And I see a couple people in this that are listening right now, because I can see their names. I know a couple that are kind of doing that right now. They never did a makeup tutorial, so they said, all right, I'm gonna put out a makeup tutorial. Yeah, Ali Eagle, I'm calling you out on that one. But they're doing everything that they possibly can to be creative, and it's the chance to try new things and to not be judged on them.
Right, because everybody, we're all in the same fight, and so to single people out for being different or doing something differently, or that's counterproductive to everything we're trying to get through right now.
It's a chance to try new things, right, Thomas? Look at us right now.
Try new things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yes.
Always.
There is if you scroll to the bottom, if you haven't already figured it out, there is a chat section on there. If you click on it, it will open a side window. Some of you have already done that. Vic has agreed to answer some questions. If you want to type in a question in the chat section, he'd be more than willing to read them and give an answer to all of us. We'll all hear it as it comes in.
Hey, Jolie, you want to ask us your question?
So where are you guys finding your inspiration to create during this time? Have you found it and through personal experiences? Have you found it through like things in the media? Like, where are you guys finding your creative inspiration in this time at this moment?
Vic, take it. Go ahead. You take it, Vic.
Okay. I'm so I've always been quite self-motivated because it's quite important to me as an artist with my own studio to keep things moving. It's the piece behind me which says peace. That was that was done because I wanted to keep practicing. I always keep practicing. I started doing some videos as well. So I'm doing some insight videos on my YouTube channel. They're really short, 10, 15 minutes, just talking about things that keep me going when I'm working. They're not tutorial videos. I think there's so many of those out there. So it's just trying to find new things to do that I now have the time to share with other people, with the younger generation and younger artists that maybe are losing a little bit of impetus to keep going. So for me, this is a great time for me to actually start sharing a few things. So motivationally, it's pretty much you guys that are my motivation at the end of the day.
I can absolutely see that, because everything that you seem to do, Vic, just spews humanity, for lack of a better term. It cries out for connection. It asks for interaction.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, really. It's because my work is so intricate, Tom. I don't want people just to look at it and go, "Wow, that's nice," take a quick picture and walk away. I want people and I've had this with big murals that I've been to an agency. I went to an agency not so long ago, and I did a mural 6 months prior, and somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, are you the artist?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I see something new in these murals every day that I've been here, and that's been here for 6 months."
Wow.
And for me, that's really important, because I don't want it to be a quick mural. I want it to be something that you discover. And that's maybe where I push myself in so many different ways. My work's very it's very recognizable, but at the same time, you just got to keep it interesting and just try new things, but reach out to different people as well. And like I'm doing, with you guys tonight. This is great. I love stuff like this, because this is what makes life worth living. Sharing something that I've got a passion, but I only started doing this maybe 9 years ago, 10 years ago. So I still think I'm one of the luckiest, people alive, because I'm still doing what I love.
Yeah.
But it took me a good 40 years to get there.
Well, listen, there's no overnight successes in anything that any of us are doing. But I
don't believe that.
From a personal standpoint, I feel lucky to know you, bro, because you've been so open about helping out. Like, even 4 years ago, there was never a doubt when I asked you if you wanted to talk to our kids at school. You never blinked about saying, "Well, maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure." You're like, "Absolutely, mate, I'm in." Like, you just, the ability for you to give us your time, as well as your talent, and your ability to give us what's in your head and what's in your heart, is so important for all of us. It really is. I thank you for all of that. It's been so amazing. It really has.
Thank you, Tom.
Another question here from Michelle. She wants to know how you originally became interested in typography.
That's a good question. So I was a late starter. I went to university and I studied graphic design when I was 26. So I left when I was 29. I got my BA, Masters in graphic design. I then spent the next maybe 18 years working as a professional graphic designer and creative director. So I learned a lot of typography there. my use of typography. If you kind of ask me where everything started, the storytelling, I think I was quite burnt out from working for one client. I'd been there for a year, so I'd been doing a lot of really deep graphic design work. So I took 3 months off and I started illustrating again. And that's where the Street series came in. And I started playing the stories and typography there, hand drawing. And it grew from there, basically. There is no, I don't think there's a defined time or moment. I think I just love typography. Typography, fonts, we see, this is the way I see it. So typography and fonts, we see every day. We read, it's in the news, it's in advertising, promotional, it's on absolutely everything. And for us, we just take it for granted because we see it so much. But without words, without type and letters, we wouldn't have anything. So and maybe there's a little bit of me that feels like I want to give a big cheer to typography. I want to say, look, let's create personalities for these letters because we need to worship them, not take them for granted. So that's maybe why I love typography so much and storytelling.
Great answer. Yes, that's awesome. Got another question there?
Yeah, Jennifer has a question. She said, if you had to create a piece based on what is going on in this crazy world right now, what do you think it would look like? If you had 20 minutes to create a sketch, what would you think it would look like? Crazy world.
So I can here's one I prepared earlier. So this is going back to maybe the storytelling thing. So I started this. It took a little bit longer than 20 minutes. It took about maybe a couple of hours, hour and a half to do. So this is going to be, I'm just going to keep drawing in this book. So to give you an idea, I don't know if you can see that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very tongue in cheek. It's some factual stuff. And there's some kind of fun stuff in there as well. I don't know if you can see the little virus. I called him something. Yeah, he's not a good guy. So it's just, it's not a celebration of the virus, but it's a celebration of the times that we're in. And you know what? Rather than running away from this because we can't, you almost have to embrace it, and you then own it and say, look, there's nothing we can do about this. We can't run away from it, and we can't wish it away. So we have to just go, well, let's take it and let's do something with it that's positive.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have anything they want to type in, or any more questions coming in from Vic? We don't want to keep him too much longer. We know he's a busy guy over there. And I can't believe I see Tom Senna Sr., my dad, is in the house, and I can't believe this man does not have a question. This man asks questions from Disneyland employees. I can't believe he doesn't have a question right now.
Just try and think of one.
Yeah. Here's the second question. Go ahead, Mike. Read it.
Yeah. How did you want us to go about sharing that project of my story?
Okay. Yeah. You know what? For me, this is a personal thing. You can share it on social media, share it with your friends. This is your story, so this is for you to own. So that, like I said, 10 years from now, you can pick it up and read it. You might have children in the future. You can share it with them. You could also, at the end of all this, you could have an exhibition. Maybe everyone pulls their stories together and you talk about, how you're feeling. This is not just a factual thing. This is, put your heart into this. Just be honest, because this is one thing that I'm hearing a lot of is in the UK from friends and people that are following me on social media is how scared their children are and how confused they are because they can't see their friends, they can't go out, so they don't fully understand what's going on. And this is a good way for you to get those feelings down. And then to be able to share this afterwards is really important with each other. but maybe have an exhibition, maybe do something big with it. You know, this is you've got to own this. I'm giving you an idea. You have to run with it.
Yeah.
Would you be? I probably know the answer to this already because I know the type of person that you are. But if, let's say, we do some stuff and we DM it to you or send it to you, would you be willing to, make it a project and post, or even post it as like a series and maybe put things together and chart everything as a narrative? Can they send you their work and show you and have you post it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I mean, I could do that. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd love this to be bigger than it is. And if people are getting involved, I'm getting a few people sending me sort of rough stuff that they're doing. And I kind of like that. Not artists, just general people, mums, dads, kids. We can share this. You know what? I don't have anything to do at the moment. So this is a great, this is a great thing to do. It's, share the love.
Yeah, I think if everybody on here, I know for the most part, everybody has a pretty good, strong social media presence on Instagram. I think if we kind of make this and get this rolling and start posting to the people that follow us and maybe invite people to send us, stuff, and then we post to each other and we make this big movement, it might be something that kind of brings us together creatively and takes some of the pressure off and gets everybody kind of calmed down again. And I think it might be something very interesting to try.
I love that, Tom. I love that. I think that's, cross-Atlantic stuff, we're all feeling the same, we're all very confused about what's going on, but we're also very aware of our vulnerability in this situation. And I think, doing something, from the USA to the UK, I'd love it if the rest of the world got involved, enough other people and other, students and other people just said, I want to do this. I want to be part of this. Yeah. And honestly, it's amazing. When I started drawing, when I started illustrating my diary, it suddenly felt very calming, the whole situation. I suddenly started understanding it more because I was creating the story. It was almost like drawing a comic, if you like, and our superheroes are our doctors and nurses. They're not caped; they are masked.
Gowned and masked. That they definitely are.
Yeah.
The other thing as well with this is to be able to share stories and fears and feelings with other people through visual illustration and stories and typography, and other people might feel the same, so they don't suddenly feel alone as well. So there's that as well.
I think that's a major part of it. I think it's to let everybody know that we're in this together. And like we said at the top of the program, you don't have to be a well-trained university artist to get involved in something like this. It can be totally, spontaneous and
therapeutic.
And therapeutic, absolutely.
Yes.
And,
yes.
It's something that we could all use at a time like this, even if it's just 5-10 minutes out of the day. Everybody's juggling a lot of stuff right now, and there's a lot of chaos and a lot of uncertainty. And like you said, there's a lot of unknown. But right now, we know that, right now, for this past 50 minutes, we've been here. We've been together. We've been talking. Hopefully, it's been, a time where we've forgotten everything else and everything's kind of been shut out, and we're just amongst human beings and amongst friends and talking it through. Yes, Dad. Dad says the sand sculpture.
The sand sculpture counts.
An award-winning sand sculpture.
That is an award-winning sand sculptor at his best. Yes, my father is a sand sculpture aficionado. Yes, Dad, sand sculpture will count.
Get down to the beach, Mr. Senna.
Just don't get to the beach now. Please practice social distancing, but as soon as everything is lifted, Pop, you can get down there and we'll take pictures and we'll send it to Vic. Okay?
Get that man a sandbox.
I love that.
Get that man a sandbox. Let's get him a sandbox.
Fantastic.
Get him a sandbox. Fantastic. Is anybody else want to ask? I know Yes. Go ahead, Ali. Can I ask a question about the background wall behind you?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Ali.
Do you want me to move? So there's a two parts to this. So I should explain. So I mainly do black and white work. That's, I'm if a client comes to me to do a mural, they'll say, "Do you do color?" And I'll always say to them, "I can, but I don't really want to, because with an environment, there are so many different colors within an environment." I'm looking at Tom at the moment, and he's got, different artworks and color, and, there's stuff all around him which has got color in. And that's the same as any environment. So I always try and stick to black and white. The piece behind me, so I'll move so you can see. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's basically just made up flowers, because I didn't sketch this. This was all freestyle drawn. It's the biggest, the oval size, I think, is 2 meters by 3 meters. So probably maybe 6 foot by 9 foot in American time. And then this one is, again, this is all just hand drawn, made up. I can show you this as well. So I kind of did this. I'll move this. So that says peace.
Yeah.
And again, if you look at the details in it, that's all just made up. I don't draw, sketch anything. So, keeping motivated, different ways. Just keep drawing. Just enjoy what you do. You always love what you do. And you might amaze yourself when you start as well.
Yeah. No, I think that it's so important for everyone to hear that. It's so important for everyone to remember not to lose that part of us, especially now. It's probably more important than ever. If it's going to keep us afloat, it's going to help us get through some dark stuff, and it helps to know that there are other people out there that think that way and are willing to lean on each other that way and share ideas with each other that way. Now is not the time for not sharing ideas.
Yes, exactly. This is the time to forget all about, I don't know. We talked briefly about, if you stand out and you're ostracized by the group, that's pretty much my life, is standing out and doing something that I wanted to do to a lot of other people. So sometimes you have to stand out to make a difference. And, if other people are, saying bad things about you, it's because they're jealous, basically. And that's the way life works. And you pick yourself up and you go, you know what? I understand that you're in this situation, which is why you're digging me. But at the end of the day, I'm better than you are. So, I'm going to grow up being a better person than you are. And you know what? It works, but just don't forget who you are at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I think we have almost about an hour. I think that's a pretty good time block. I don't want to take any more time out of your
bad.
Out of your busy day, but I think that I want to thank Vic. I want to thank you immensely, because it's great to have you. It's great to have you share with us. You've always been willing to share with us. I think that that's something that's just a fantastic part of who you are. And in addition to a alien-like talent, I don't know where you come up with this stuff.
Don't ask me.
It's incredible. But the fact that you're an even better person than an artist is even that much more applaudable and impressive, because we need a lot. No, seriously, bro, we need a lot more people that have that attitude. Your positivity and your belief in humanity, just in general, is just very inspiring to a lot of people. It really is.
Thank you, Tom. That's so kind of you.
Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I just want to say thank you as well. I mean, for a first time, Tom and I doing this for the first time, I don't think we could have asked for a better guest to talk with, especially during these times. So I'm really appreciative of it. I know I learned a lot. I know the people that are in this chat right now learned a lot. I know when we push this out eventually, that it will reach a lot more people, and people will get a lot out of it. So I thank you a lot for doing this for both Tom and I. It was fun. Like we said earlier, trying new things. Tom and I are trying new things.
We've been talking about some kind of podcast interview thing for what, like 2 years now, dude?
Yeah.
We've been playing around with the technology, and I think this has been the time where it's like you said, everything's slowed down, and the world told us now it's time to try what you guys have been
Yeah.
And I think I thank everybody who tuned in. I really hope that you all got something out of hearing Vic and Mike and I talk. And I know I talk to a lot of you on social media and text back and forth. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Let MK know. If you want to reach out to Vic on Instagram and send him a message, this guy's awesome with being open and honest and answering back. And just keep thinking good things, everybody. And like we said, Mike and I
I've got one more thing I want to say, which I should have said earlier, which is the first time Tom got in contact with me was 4 years ago, which when I did the tour for your school, and then we kept in contact, and then we swapped art.
Yes, we did swap.
And I love that, and I think this is the thing. On Instagram, I think I said, Tom, do you want to do a swap? I love your work.
Yes.
And Tom kindly said yes. And I now have one of Tom's amazing carved pieces of Snoop Dogg.
That's right.
Hanging proudly in my studio.
And I have...
And that for me,
yes,
that's art.
Yes, and I have the letter S. It's hanging in my bedroom right in a prominent spot. It's probably my most favorite piece. It is to do an artist exchange with you was probably one of the biggest highlights of my life.
And Vic, I remember that. I remember that exchange because I remember Tom trying to figure out how he was going to ship that overseas. That's right, without spending a ton of money.
Yes, I had no idea how big that was. I was just like, what is this thing? This is like a surfboard or something. I don't know.
But I do. Mike and I had many a conversation on how I was going to mortgage my house to get that thing shipped across the pond.
So bad.
But it was worth every nickel because to be able to make that connection with you as an artist and as another human being and as a friend, it was just, I was very, very flattered that you even considered to do that exchange with me. I was very honored.
I love it. I see it every day, Tom. I'm super proud of that piece that you did for me. I'm super proud of it, mate. And I worship that, man.
Thank you. You are a good, not even a good. You are a fantastic human being. You really are. Thank you for sharing with us, Vic. Thank you for doing this project. And I'm sure we'll have people reaching out to you and sending you stuff and showing you stuff. And let's just keep sharing with everybody. And through this time, I think sharing is probably going to get us through a lot.
Yes, good. All right, listen, guys, stay safe.
Yes.
Stay creative, and just keep being nice to everyone.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And Mike and I are going to see what we can do. Who knows? This is a good first start. We'll see how it goes.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
All right, have a good one. Stay safe, everyone.